Today, we will be making Portugal cake from Miss Beecher's domestic receipt book published in 1871. For this recipe, you will need 1 pound powdered loaf sugar, 1 pound of dried and sifted flour, half a pound of butter, 8 eggs, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice or white wine, 1 pound of fruit, 1 nutmeg, and 1½ pounds of almonds. I cut the recipe in half, and I'll include the amount of ingredients that I used below. Let's start by blanching the almonds. Bring a pot of water to a boil. Add raw unsalted almonds to the water, and after 60 seconds, remove the almonds from the water. Drain them and dry them in a towel. Then, carefully remove the skins from the almonds. Why did I choose to do this? Why did I possibly think I could stand over boiling water in a kitchen without air conditioning in the middle of the summer to boil almonds and then individually peel each almond, and then I still need to slice them or crush them after this? I've almost done what must be at least 100 almonds. There is no way that whoever was doing this task 100 years ago was properly compensated for this work. I am exhausted. I had to sit down. I need a drink. I am hot. I'm tired. I'm bored. And I'm reconsidering why I even wanted to do this recipe in the first place. This is just prep work for the recipe. I'm not even actually doing the recipe. I'm still preparing the ingredients, and I'm already done. Do not do this at home. Do not put yourselves through this. Omit the almonds. Put your almonds in a food processor. Use almond flour. I don't even know if these almonds are going to taste good in the recipe. You know, it might actually be very unpleasant to eat a cake and then taste chunks of almond in your slice of cake. So, you know what? If this recipe is terrible and it doesn't taste great because there's chunks of almond in the flour, just remember how I struggled to peel every single one of these. Half a pound of peeled almonds. I didn't even know until today that there was such a thing as peeling almonds. All right, on to step 2. Next, I'm going to try pounding or cutting the almonds into shreds. Oh wow, that is... No, this is so underwhelming. I guess I am gonna have to slice these because crushing them is unappealing. Oh, it's actually pretty easy to slice them, but it doesn't say how they need to be sliced. Pound the almonds or cut into shreds. Oh, no, it's not easy. It's not easy to cut them. Take that back. Nope. That's gonna be a no from me. Alright, normally, as you know, I try to do everything by hand using only the technology available at the time, but I've been working on these almonds for an hour and I haven't even started the rest of the cake. So I am going to try and see what this little modern food processor can do to help me grind my almonds into shreds. Because apparently doing it by hand just is not working. All right, 1 modern cheats. I promise it'll be the last time. I cannot conceive of hand crushing like 100 almonds right before I need to spend 20 minutes whipping eggs by hand. It's also difficult because I don't know what texture they're supposed to be. The recipe doesn't specify, it just says pound the almonds or cut into shreds, but how small the shreds should be, how much they should be mixed into the batter, there's no indication at all. There's no picture of what it looks like when it's done. I have never seen this recipe anywhere else, so I truly am struggling into what these components should look like. But that looks like it, wouldn't be unpleasant if you found a bit of that in your slice. Next, I'm going to grate the nutmeg. Then, stir the butter and sugar to a cream. Beat the whites and the yolks of the eggs separately. We need the eggs beaten, because that's the only way the cake will rise. Then, by degrees, put in the flour and add the lemon juice last, stirring all lightly together. You'll notice that instead of using measuring cups, I'm using a scale to weigh my ingredients. I wasn't sure when exactly to add the crushed almonds and the blueberries, and I think if I were to make this cake again, I would wait until after the eggs had hydrated the dough before adding the almonds and blueberries. Finally, pour the batter into a greased baking pan and bake for 45 minutes in an oven that has been preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so let's see how this tastes. I do get a lot of the chunks of almonds when I take a bite. And while it's unusual, it's not bad. It actually adds like a pretty good texture to it would be an otherwise pretty stodgy, heavy cake. I did find it strange though that the cake did not so many almonds. I need a glass of water. I am surprised the recipe chose to use beaten egg whites as the leavener rather than baking powder, because baking powder was widely used at this time as a leavening agent in baking. It just seemed like so much extra effort to whip up the eggs and then mix them into this dough that was very stodgy, very heavy and very chunky. I think it would have worked better for another kind of cake, but this one was just too heavy, I think, to take advantage of the beaten egg whites. Not to mention the fact that I spent 40 minutes beating those eggs by hand. It's just the amount of work that went into this recipe, and then the outcome are just... Would I recommend anyone make this? Maybe if you really wanted to, just to experience what it tastes like. But if you've got some blueberries kicking around in your refrigerator, I highly recommend making a blueberry lemon pound cake instead with like a lemon drizzle on top. This is just, it's a very heavy, doughy cake. It's not very sweet. It's just a little underwhelming, to be honest. The best part about it is the blueberries, and I don't even know if it was meant to be made with blueberries, so. Further, this cake is referred to as a Portugal cake. I'm Portuguese. I've been to Portugal dozens of times. I've traveled all over that country. I've been in pastry shops in literally every single village I have stopped in that country, and I have never seen a cake with fruit and chopped almonds in it. Maybe as other ingredients, but not solely those two as the additives, and nutmeg. Nutmeg is not a flavor that I associate with Portugal. I associate more lots of egg yolks and cinnamon. If you really do want to try Portuguese recipes, I can link to some down below. They're so rich, so delicious, and so sweet. Not at all anything like this, which is practically like a fruit bread almost at this point. Blanching of the almonds was a tremendously difficult process. Whipping the eggs took 40 minutes. 40 minutes. I stood in a hot kitchen for 40 minutes and whipped eggs, and blanched and peeled almonds for another like 30 minutes, and I was almost ready to quit on this recipe. There is no way that the people who worked in kitchens making this food for the people who lived upstairs enjoyed any second of it. I did it for 3 hours, making one dessert, one single dish that would have been one of dozens of dishes sent up to the kitchen upstairs in one day, and I was miserable. If you would like to create this recipe at home, I recommend omitting the almonds because they're a choking hazard, and making it with blueberries or chopped apples that have been mixed up in cinnamon and sugar. If you have any historic recipes you'd like me to try, please comment them down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.